I've been doing theater since I was 14. My first stage appearance was at school. Over the years, I took acting classes, joined the drama club in high school, and continued acting in college. I'm still involved with a local theater. Eventually, I started designing sets and directing plays instead of acting. I met my wife, Donna Zachary, the same year I started acting. My name is Mark Abbott. Donna's family moved into the house next to ours. Although our nearest neighbor was about 100 meters away, our families became very close. Our house had 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and a guest toilet. Both families lived quite comfortably and grew close over time. In fact, I think my father and Donna's mother were so close that they used each other. Anyway, after a couple of years, it was decided that Donna and I would get married when the time came. I didn't mind. Donna was very attractive. So over the years, she and I have developed almost the same close friendship as her mother and my father. Well, actually, we had the same intimacy as them. Only we did it on the night of our prom. Is it original? No. But as it turned out, so it turned out. Over the years, she had the same penchant for theater that I had. We participated in several productions together at school and college. In fact, one of our favorite places to make love was one of the 3 theaters at Penn State University. Since we lived in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania State University seemed like a logical choice. We dated and made love all through college. We both liked college, and we both experimented in bed with other people and told each other about them. There was no jealousy when we made love to others. She even had a few sessions with girls who, for some reason, vowed to give up boyfriends while in college. I think they belonged to a kind of LDD group, lesbians before graduation. Not only was I not jealous of these meetings, but I almost begged her to tell me about them. And when she did, it was hot. In our last year of college, we settled down. We walked around a lot and decided that our parents were right and that we should get married. That evening, when I made an official offer, we made an agreement that from now on and forever we would give ourselves only to each other. It worked great for 20 years, and then it all went down the drain. As you may have guessed, neither Donna nor I ever needed anything. And as I said, both our families lived comfortably. Her father inherited a considerable amount of money, and I've never seen him work in my life, except for the job of restoring vintage cars for his own pleasure. My father, however, earned very hard what we had. He owned several businesses, car part stores, 5, car washes, 3, and fast food restaurants, 3. They all made money, but fast food restaurants were especially profitable. They made their fortunes in different ways, but they had one thing in common. They never trusted anyone's word alone. They never made handshake deals and always got things in writing. When I was 16, my parents gave me a car. Actually, they lent it to me. To drive it, I had to sign a document stating that the car belonged to my parents and they could take it away for any of the reasons listed on the form. The last reason said that my father, the registered owner, could take the car away at any time if he felt I no longer deserved to use it freely and without limits. I have never lost the free and unrestricted use of a vehicle. It was a great deal for me, and all I had to do was keep my nose clean, which I did. I had 3 cars under this contract until I graduated from college. Then my father gave me the one I was using at the time. All 3 cars were Ford pickups. My senior year in high school was going to go to New York for prom. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to watch real Broadway plays, but I didn't have enough money, so I asked my father for a loan. He gave it to me, but only after I signed a contract stating that in order to repay the loan, I would work in one of his enterprises. He would determine the enterprise and store himself for $10 per hour. The contract further stated that loan payments would be made directly from my check, and loan payments should not exceed 50% of net income for the billing period. As I said, both of Donna's and mine's fathers insisted on signing contracts for almost everything they did, so the prenup did not come as a surprise to either of us. The essence of the prenuptial agreement was that if we divorced for any reason other than adultery, we would both keep everything we brought into the marriage separately and share equally all the property acquired and or accumulated during the marriage. In the case of adultery, the party who violated the marriage left the marriage only with the property or assets that she brought into the marriage. Everything that was acquired and or accumulated during the marriage remained with the offended party. This was true for both of us, and since we had already lost our temper and swore eternal fidelity to each other, we signed the document without any problems. That's how it was written, and that's how it was done. Fast forward 20 years. Donna's father and mother were alive. He was still rebuilding old cars, and her mother was still doing whatever she wanted. My parents died when the plane they were on fell from an altitude of 13,000 meters into the Atlantic Ocean on their way to Paris. I was in the process of completing the liquidation of their property. I worked with my father after graduating from college and, in fact, took over the management of fast food restaurants, of which there were now 8. Almost 2 years after the wedding, Donna and I had twins. Our life has really been at least outstanding. Until that very day, throughout our married life, we both continued to love the theater. We often went to New York to see Broadway plays. Our twins, Samantha, Sammy, and Samuel, Sam, were already 17 and a half years old, and they knew Times Square almost as well as their own neighborhood. From the age of 3, they took acting, dancing, and singing lessons, and both were good at these 3 arts. They performed on stage in many of our local plays, as well as in school productions. Donna and I had already stopped playing, but we continued to actively participate. There were 3 local theaters in our area and one group that brought professional actors from New York and Chicago. This professional group sometimes used local actors from the 3 theaters. Donna and I worked with these professionals several times. We both stopped acting but stayed involved. I've been directing some of our plays for the last few years, which I enjoyed more than acting. Donna was the president of the board for one theater group, and I was on the board of another. The rules for all 3 theaters said family members couldn't be on the same board at the same time. The group Donna was president of was my favorite, and I spent a lot of time working on their sets and taking care of their buildings and grounds. In the last few months, we've had problems with local teenagers breaking into the theater building. They did not vandalize, but stole several items of props. After all, they stole our lawn mower. The local police told us frankly that such minor crimes are rarely investigated unless we know who actually committed the crime. They had few resources, and they couldn't waste time on small things. The board decided to take the initiative and try to help the police. So they bought 6 audio and video cameras with motion sensors to be installed in and around the building. Donna asked me to install them. I promised to do it at the first opportunity. She asked me to let her know when I would do it so that she could report it to the board of directors. It was Wednesday. My lawyer and I have just left the courthouse. My parents' inheritance was settled and I was rich. Let's just say a comfortably living, healthy and relatively young 43-year-old man with a loving wife and 2 wonderful children. I was returning home, but decided to stop by the theater and install cameras. I installed 2 of them near the theater itself. One was aimed at the front door and the other at the stage door. I also installed 1 camera inside, aimed at the cash register. Our workshop was a separate building with 1 entrance. I installed one aimed at the door. The other one is inside, directed at the workshop where our tools were located. The last one was in the warehouse where our stage furniture and props were stored. I connected them all to the computer in the theater office, and in case the computer is stolen, I added a link to my laptop, since I had it with me because of a visit to a lawyer. Any movement in or around the theater or workshop triggered an alarm on both the computer in the theater and on my laptop. Then I went home. I was going to tell Donna about it tonight, but the news about my parents' inheritance took priority. We spent the whole evening talking about a big new house, a house in Vail for skiing, which we've never done, a luxury motorhome, world travel, donations, new cars, and more. By bedtime, we were exhausted and forgot about the theater cameras. This continued until Friday evening, 2 days later. Shortly after 7 p.m., my laptop beeped. I saw that the motion detector at the theater had gone off. I opened the link and saw that the camera outside the workshop was activated. It showed 2 young men breaking into the building. I was ready to call the police, but I wanted to get a better video of their faces for later identification and see if they would take anything from the building. They looked around for about 10 minutes, not in a hurry. I heard them talking and realized they had been here before and hoped to find something valuable to sell. They noted that all our tools were engraved with the theater's name, making them hard to sell. They went to the refrigerator and had a couple of soft drinks. Suddenly, they jumped and looked at the door. Then, without a word, they ran to the prop warehouse and hid behind a china cabinet. Then I saw Donna, my 20-year-old wife, come in. She was being pushed by John Xavier Neal, a member of the theater's board. He was a sloppy, fat guy who always played the role of a womanizer in our plays, and he was worthless. In the theater, we call it casting. He said, "Hurry up. I want to make love. I just can't." My wife replied, "Me too. It feels like an eternity has passed." She took his hand and led him into the prop warehouse. He was trying to lift her skirt and unbutton his shirt with one hand while she held the other. A week can seem like an eternity when you're constantly on edge. It's okay, honey, she said. I'll take care of your boner. By this time, they were already near one of the sofas in the prop warehouse. It looks like they'd been there before because he went straight to the closet where the sheets and blankets were, while she started to undress. Fuck him, she said. Come here. He hurriedly spread the sheet on the couch and pushed her onto it. I watched as this bastard literally tore off her underwear. The two observers also heard it. Damn it, said one of the young men from behind the china cabinet. Oh, my God, said Donna. What was that? What was what? The asshole asked. I heard someone. That's bullshit. There's no one here. I wouldn't be so sure. Dad, said one of the uninvited guests. The guys came in. Bastard. What a show it was. How about we share this girl? Get off me, Donna shouted. Wrong, Mommy. Go to hell, she said, starting to get dressed. Listen, either we use you right now or these records will be on every pillar and on every internet site we can find. Are you listening? He replied, and they both showed their cell phones. Oh my God. You wouldn't dare. Why wouldn't we? We're just using you the same way your lover used you. John, do something, please. And what should I do? John Xavier Neal, the jerk, asked. This slug won't stop anyone, one of the guys said. Of course not, the other one replied. He's so scared right now that he's pissing on his fool, although maybe she likes to be urinated on. Listen up, guys. I really can't afford to be dragged into something like this. My wife will kill me. If he's married, then so is this fool. Now I know we're using you because you can't afford to get caught either. Oh my God. No, please, Donna said as both boys began to undress, but pleading didn't help. That's it, Mommy. The first attacker got off Donna. Stand up. She stood up. Reluctantly, he lay down on the sofa. Donna looked at him hungrily. Sit on it. Donna almost jumped for joy. Wow. Slow down, Mommy. Take your time. Dwayne jumped onto the couch. Donna was panting. She was being used by two strangers at the same time. The asshole couldn't take it anymore and decided to participate in it too. God, I felt sick. When I first saw her and that jerk enter the building, my first instinct was to call the police. I was afraid for her. But when they started using her, curiosity got the better of me, and by the time Dwayne and his buddy joined in the fun, I was so fucked up that I didn't care what happened to her anymore. Disgust seized me. I sat and thought about what to do next. I didn't make it to the bathroom. I threw up in the hallway. I was kneeling there, looking at my vomit, smelled it, and threw up again. After a few minutes, I managed to wash everything. Then I threw up again. This time I managed to get to the toilet. I went back to turn off the computer. I couldn't take it anymore. I threw up 5 times in total. Actually, threw up isn't the right word. After the first 3 times, there was nothing left, so the last 2 times were just dry heaving. I sat there for 2 hours trying to figure out what to do. At first, I thought about kicking her out of the house. Then I decided to forgive her since she had been faithful for 20 years. Or maybe not. Let's go back to kicking her out. And what will happen to the twins? Okay, I'll forgive her. An hour later, I was still wondering what to do when I heard the garage door open, and she came in with a big smile on her face. Hi, honey. How was your day? She said, coming up and trying to kiss me. I don't know if I really smelled shit on her breath, or if it was just my imagination, but I made a decision at the same moment. You have 1 hour to pick up your stuff and get out of this house. What are you talking about? 1 hour. Don't show up here when I get back and I never, ever want to see you or talk to you again. You fucking cheater. 1 hour. And I left. 2 hours later, I returned home. I went into the bedroom and saw that some of her things were gone. I sat down on the bed and cried. After about 15 minutes, I looked up and saw the twins standing in the doorway. What did you do to Mom? Sammy asked. This is between me and her. She said you kicked her out of the house. Is it true? I told you it was between me and your mother. The hell with it. This also applies to us. This is our family. She said she came home and you told her to get out. We want to know why it's none of your business. Point end of discussion. We have a right to know, Dad. Get out of my room. This is Mom's room too. Not anymore. Now get out and leave me alone. Oh, we'll leave you alone. Okay, we'll be with Mom. We want you to know that we think what you did was shitty. We think you're a total jerk and we don't want anything to do with you anymore. From now on, we have nothing to say to you, and nothing you say matters to us. You're completely cut out of our lives. Wait a minute, young lady, I said, standing up. Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? Who am I? I'm the girl who was your daughter, but I found out what a jerk you really are, and I don't want anything to do with you anymore. She walked towards her room. What about you, Sam? Go to hell, Dad. What you did to Mom is the most disgusting and unimaginable thing I could ever think of. I never want to see you again, and also went towards his room. I was sitting downstairs when they came down. They each had a suitcase and a few things on hangers as they headed for the door. Are you sure you want to do this? Like Sam said upstairs, go to hell. And they went out. It took me about 30 seconds to decide what to do next. I thought I knew the first place the three of them would go. I went online, found the business I was looking for, and called them. Then I called the bank. 2 hours later, 2 trucks pulled up in front of Donna's parents' house. One of the drivers rang the doorbell. Sammy opened the door. We're from Keystone Recovery, and we're here to bring back those 2 Mustangs that are in front of the house. What are you talking about? The owner of these cars has asked us to return them. He also asked us to give copies of these contracts to Samantha and Samuel Abbott. Have a nice day. While he was talking to Sammy, another driver was loading the Mustang onto a truck. They did this so quickly that it took only seconds to load both cars. I gave them the spare keys in case the other keys weren't available. The first driver got back into his truck, and they drove off. By this time, Sam, Donna, and her mother were looking at the contract the twins signed on their 16th birthday when I gave them the cars. Thanks, Dad, Sam said. A few minutes later, my phone rang. It was Donna. I told you I don't want to talk to you anymore, she said, and I hung up. The phone rang again. It was Sammy. She usually led most of the conversations for the twins. Hello, is it possible there's a bigger jerk than you? I saw a side of my children that I didn't even know existed. Hey, young lady, don't blame me. I'm just helping you do what you want. What are you talking about? 2 hours ago, you said that you and your brother no longer want to have anything to do with me, so I'm helping you achieve this goal. By taking my cars, I'll make it easier for you to leave me. I thought you guys would have less trouble. You should be thanking me, not calling me an asshole. Oh, by the way, I canceled your credit cards. Go to hell, you idiot. And the phone went silent. Yes, sir, there was a side of my children that I didn't even know existed. The really ugly side. But then they probably think the same about me. It goes without saying that I have filed for divorce. Donna tried to talk to me a few more times, but I hung up every time. Neither she nor the twins went into the house to get their things. I went to the theater again to erase Donna's video from her little party. I didn't erase the copy on my laptop. After that, I never returned to this theater again. 3 weeks later, we had a meeting. Donna, her lawyer, our lawyer, and me. I was surprised to see the twins there. I didn't want them there, and since they weren't 18 years old, I could have prevented it. But after thinking about it, I decided it was time. The meeting began with her lawyer saying that Donna did not want a divorce, and that the reason for the divorce, adultery, was not true. I could tell by the look on the twins' faces that Donna hadn't told them the reason for the divorce. My lawyer interrupted him and said, "Let's get down to business. Watch this video." And he launched a video that was recorded by cameras in the theater. No, God, no, stop it, Donna screamed. She looked at me. How did you do that? I didn't say anything. I told her I never wanted to talk to her, and I didn't. The twins looked at each other and left the room. I told her lawyer, if your client signs these documents in the next 10 minutes, she can come to my house and pick up the remaining items, including the jewelry she left in the house will be open from 5 to 7 o'clock in the evening. But according to the prenuptial agreement, she won't get anything else. Point. And don't tell me that the video can't be accepted in court. You and I both know it's acceptable. It was filmed on the territory of the theater, in a public place, and no one has a reasonable expectation of privacy, as in a private house. I got up and left the conference room of the office building, heading for the elevator. The twins were standing there waiting for me. Oh my God, Dad, we are so sorry. We had no idea, one of them said. I raised my hand to stop her. From now on, we have nothing to say to you, and everything you say doesn't interest us. You are completely cut out of our lives. That's what you said a few weeks ago, without knowing my side of the story. And as far as I understand, it now applies to you. And I turned to go down the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. And as for calling me Dad, you've given up that, right? If I were you, given our recent understanding of your mother's behavior, I would ask her who your biological father is. I know it can't be me, because none of my children will be able to condemn someone without at least listening to his version. The house will be open today from 5 to 7 in the evening so that you can pick up the remaining things. You can take everything in the house. Anything left over after 7 will go to charity. You might want to bring a truck and help with you. Just don't take your mother's lovers with you." I went down the stairs and out of the building. I had just left the parking lot when my lawyer called me. I stopped by the side of the road to answer the phone. The papers were signed. My marriage was over. I got into my truck and cried. That evening at 5 o'clock, the twins appeared. I saw them looking at this for sale sign on the lawn. I let them in, and as usual, Sammy tried to speak for both of them. I raised my hand to stop her. "Not a word. Just take your things and leave." She started talking again. I stopped her. "One word and you'll leave here with nothing." Then I went into my office and closed the door. I heard them leave after about 20 minutes. Shortly after they left, the doorbell rang. I went to the door and opened it. My father-in-law was standing there. Donna was standing behind him. "May I come in?" "Of course." "Donna, go get your stuff. I'll talk to Mark." She went upstairs. "How are you?" he asked. "Not very well. And yours?" "It's not good news either. The twins told us what happened at the lawyer's office. They were really surprised, especially when you suggested they find out who their biological father was." I stood there quietly. We didn't know about Donna. When she came back home today, her mother kicked her out. The twins can stay if they want, but Donna has to leave by tomorrow. I kept standing in silence. "The twins feel sorry about how they treated you. Maybe you should forgive them and give them another chance. I don't think my relationship with them is any of your business, but I know you're just trying to help." They were ready to throw me under the bus before they knew the whole story. There was no forgiveness, although there was nothing to forgive. They treated me like trash. I won't be able to easily forget or forgive this. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to work. Say hi to Mom. I have always loved and respected both of you. I hope you know that. I went back to my office. I heard them leave. 5 years have passed. I didn't see Donna or the twins anymore. I sold my house, packed my truck, and headed south. For months after leaving Pennsylvania, I woke up in Key West, Florida. Needless to say, I didn't need the money. In fact, I was never going to work again. On my first day there, I pretended to be a tourist, walked along one of the central streets, and almost walked past a small public theater. I stopped and decided to look around. The front door was locked, so I walked around behind him. Several people worked in the warehouse. I introduced myself and started a conversation. Before I knew it, I had a cordless drill in my hands, and I was already helping to build the scenery. Like most of the people involved in the community theater, they were all volunteers and had other jobs. So around noon, everyone started leaving. "Can you come tomorrow?" The guy who seemed to be in charge asked. "Of course. What time is it?" "At 8. We'll make coffee." The next morning, I showed up at 8 with a dozen donuts. I've been here all this time. Over the past 5 years, I bought a house near the theater. I'm on the board of directors, acted in several plays, and directed 3. That day, I was working on the set for our next play when I heard it. "Dad." I froze. "Dad, is that you?" I didn't need to look. I knew it was her. I set down the drill and turned to see her. "How did you find me? And more importantly, why?" We were walking down the street. "I saw a poster advertising your play, and I saw your name. What do you want? Samantha? Can we talk for a while?" A long pause. "Please." I was standing. "Come on, tell me. Sam and I treated you like shit." "We didn't have the right to do that, and you didn't deserve it. Not a day has passed in the last 5 years that we haven't regretted it. We've been trying to find you for a year. Grandpa helped us hire a private investigator, and for the first 3 months, we could keep an eye on you. We knew when you were in Charleston, but then we lost you. Dad, we're really sorry. We love you, miss you, and really want to get back into your life. It was in Charleston that I decided to stop using credit cards and use only cash. I haven't used a credit card since." "By the way," she said with a smile, "you're our father. We did a DNA test. How did you manage it without my DNA? We had yours. Remember the box with all your baby teeth? As far as Sam and I remember, your mom saved all your teeth when they fell out and kept them in a small box. Your teeth were on one side, and Sam and I were on the other. We've checked them out, and whether you like it or not, you're our father. But more importantly, you're our dad." I had to smile. At that moment, we heard the whistle of the boat. Key West is a large port of call for cruise ships. "Oh shit, I have to go." "Are you on this ship?" "Yes." My fraternity friends and I decided to go on a cruise as a graduation present. I graduated from Penn State last month. I'm glad for you. She asked me to walk part of the way with her. I closed the door of the theater and we walked towards the harbor. You may not want to hear this, but Sam and I rarely talk to Mom. We see her at her grandparents' from time to time. They don't like her coming, but they won't let her and her child stay hungry or homeless. A child? She got pregnant by one of the men she was making love to that day. I shrugged my shoulders. I didn't care. I had a fleeting thought that she was too old, but it didn't seem like that was the case. You have a granddaughter. Sam got married last year, and they had a baby 2 months ago. Her name is Marky Elizabeth. They named her after you. It just so happens that I have some photos of her. She had 2 of them, and she took them out to show me. She handed them to me, but I turned away and didn't look at them. Don't you want to see her? No, neither you nor Sam understand how deeply hurt I was when you said you wanted me out of your life. I invested all my love and emotions into our family, and one day it all fell apart. Your mother's betrayal might have started a long time ago, obviously, but the way you and Sam could push me away so easily and without effort shocked me. Now you're here, apologizing and wanting me back in your lives. I'm not sure if I have the emotional strength to go through this again. What if I make a mistake and upset you again? Will you push me away once more? I do not know if I will or will be able to go through this again. It's the same with his daughter. If I look at her picture and start feeling emotionally attached, he can cut her out of my life on a whim. Why would I expose myself to this? Dad, all we can do is tell you how sorry we are and ask. No, not to ask, but to beg, to give us a chance to try to make amends to you. By this time, we were at the entrance to the cruise terminal. We stopped. Well, I have to go. She touched my arm and made a movement as if she wanted to hug me. I tensed up and pulled away. She looked at me, and there were tears in her eyes as she turned and walked through the gate. I watched her leave. She turned back to me. She said, "We love you, Daddy," and she left. I probably said it 1,000 times on the way to the theater. I came close to knocking someone down at least 3 times because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. She was wrong about one thing. It hasn't been 5 years. 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days have passed. What am I supposed to do now? They know where I am. Should I leave and go somewhere else? No, this is my home. I'll call you tomorrow and reactivate my credit cards. As soon as Sammy got back on board her ship, she took out her phone and called Sam. Hi, sis. Have you been seasick yet? No, smart ass. And you'll never guess who I've spent the last half hour with. Do I care? In this case, I think not. It was Dad. A long silence. Are you there? I'm here. Is he okay? I think so. He is still very bitter. Did you tell him how sorry we are? Yes, several times. I mentioned Marky and tried to show him a picture, but he wouldn't look at it. She kept explaining to Sam what their father was thinking. Oh my God. I also told him about my mom. Oh no. How did he react? I felt like he didn't care. I don't blame him for that. Okay, I have to go. We're getting ready to sail. See you in a few days. Okay, I love you. I love you too. 5 weeks after returning home, Sammy got a phone call. Hello? This is Detective Brian from the Key West, Florida Police Department. I'm trying to find Samantha Abbott. I'm Samantha Abbott. Miss Abbott, do you know Mark Abbott here in Key West? That's my father's name, and he lives there. What's the matter? Miss Abbott, your father had a stroke and is in the hospital. Oh my God, how bad is it? You'll have to talk to his doctor. Miss Abbott, I have no right to discuss medical information. However, I would advise you to come here as soon as possible. Thank you. Detective, when you arrive, ask the hospital staff to contact me, please. Absolutely. Thank you. 12 hours later, he and Sam were talking to the attending physician and the nurse outside his father's room. The stroke happened 2 weeks ago. It was the premiere of the play he directed. After the performance, he and the cast and crew celebrated in a local pub. We can't assess the damage because he's been in a coma since he was brought in. We know that there is some physical damage, but we have no idea about possible neurological damage because he cannot communicate with us. And from a medical point of view, there is no reason for him to be in a coma. To be honest, we just don't understand. You should know that he hasn't been alone since he arrived. There's always been someone from the theater with him, and there's someone there now. Do you know why we weren't informed sooner? I'm not sure, but it seems like nobody knew about you until recently. Well, thank you, Doctor. Can we see him now? Of course. Nurse Johnston and I will accompany you. They enter the room. The young man was sitting and reading aloud from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, Mark's favorite work. He stopped and stood up as the four of them entered the room. "Hello, I understand that you are his children. I want you to know that the whole city loves your father. He almost single-handedly saved our theater. You're lucky to have him." "Thank you," Sammy said. The young man left. Sam walked over to one side of the bed. Sammy goes to the other one. Together they reached for their father's hands. As soon as they touched, Mark's eyes fluttered. Then they opened. Nurse Johnston, clutching the doctor, was gasping for breath. "Oh my God, look, doctor." She began to approach Mark. The doctor stopped her. "Let's just take a look," he said. Mark's eyes were completely open. He looked at Sam and then at Sammy. "What happened?" His speech was slow and labored. "You had a stroke?" "When?" "2 weeks ago." "Forecast." The doctor got up and spoke. "As far as we can tell, you should make a full recovery, but we still have to run some tests. And now that you've woken up, we can hold them." He and Nurse Johnstone left. "How long have you been here?" "We've just arrived." "How are you feeling?" "It's hard to say." The three of them just stared at each other. Everyone wanted to talk, but couldn't. Mark was sinking into unconsciousness, then coming out of it. The medical staff went in and out of the room doing their business, and another person from the theater came in. After a few hours, the twins were ready to find a hotel and get some rest. Mark was awake. "Dad, we need to go for a bit. We have to find a hotel and get some rest. We'll be back in the morning." Mark looked around the room. "Where are my pants?" "I'm still trying to talk." "What did you say?" "Where are my trousers?" They searched and found them in a small closet. Sam handed them to Mark. He had difficulty controlling his hand. "Disappointed," he said. "Wallet, the keys." Sam took the keys and wallet and handed them to Mark. Mark shook his head. "For you. Stay in my house." "Money, the car, guards. You can use it." "No hotel." They understood. Sammy bent down to kiss him on the forehead as they left. Sam patted his hand. They all smiled. Downstairs in the lobby, they looked through his wallet. His address was listed on his driver's license, so they took a taxi and went there. They used his keys to get inside. After putting down their suitcases, they inspected their father's house. Sammy went into the kitchen. Sam walked over to his desk. "Sammy, come here." "What's the matter?" He pointed at the table. There were pictures of the two of them on it. Lots of photos. Photos from their high school graduation. He had to be there to make them. There were photos from Sam's wedding, and even a couple of photos of Mark in the maternity ward. There were college graduation photos. "Oh my God, I can't believe it. He was there. Sam, he was there." They stood there, amazed. Despite all his talk about being emotionally involved, he never distanced himself from them. They didn't know whether to cry tears of joy or scold him for letting them suffer for the past 5 years. They poured themselves drinks and explored the rest of the house. There was nothing remarkable and no sign of a woman. They went outside and took a walk around. In the backyard, there was a garage. Inside, they saw 3 cars, a fairly new Mercedes 550S, and 2 Mustangs that brought tears to their eyes, one silver and the other yellow. "Oh shit, Sammy, he didn't sell our cars." "Jesus Christ, they look like new." They spent that night at their father's house. The next morning they were in his room. Mark felt much better. "Sam has to leave today. He needs to come back." His speech has improved significantly. "Sam, I'm glad you could come. I'm glad to see you both. I'm sorry I was such an asshole. It took me a blow to realize that. We'll make up for lost time if you let us. Won't we, Sammy? We'll make up for it. Let's start right now." And she bent down to her father and kissed him. She spent the next 3 weeks with him. When he was discharged from the hospital, she made sure that he was cared for around the clock. She didn't have to worry. It seemed like there was always someone from the theater in the house. The young man she saw at the hospital that first day was right. This city truly loved her father, but she had to leave too. Mark's condition had improved a lot, and she had responsibilities at home. The farewell at the airport was sad. They were both crying. He kept apologizing for being awful all this time and promised to make things right. She stood in line for security, unable to take her eyes off her father. Finally, she left, and Mark exited the terminal building. He almost reached his car, but then turned around and headed straight for the ticket counter. "When is the next flight to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania?" Second story. We broke up because he thinks I lied, but he did the same thing. "Hey Reddit, I need some opinions because I feel like I'm losing my mind. My ex-boyfriend 21M and I 21F broke up a week ago because he constantly accused me of cheating and lying to him. His trust issues started when he found my Finsta about 2 months into our relationship and saw a video of me with a guy friend in the car from about a year ago before going to the gym. I explained that we used to go to the gym together occasionally, but I had cut off contact with him long before we started dating. We were just friends and I was new in town, trying to socialize. He called me a liar for not disclosing my gym buddy earlier, even though he had said he wouldn't have dated me if he knew about any guy friends from before. Ironically, the first night we spent together as a couple, I had a feeling and checked his phone. I found out he had another girl as his second best friend on Snapchat with a 60-day streak, and she was texting him about a concert we had just attended together. He never mentioned her until I confronted him. He argues it's different because he didn't want her, but to me, that's worse because it shows he was keeping other options open. I broke up with him because of his hypocrisy and lack of trust in me. Am I wrong, or are these situations basically the same? His feels worse to me because it happened closer to when we started dating.